Just sitting on the couch, and my girlfriend goes, "Oh, like, imagine you got traded." And I was like, "Oh, there's no way, like, whatever." I get the call, and I was like, "Oh, I wonder why he's calling, like, whatever, like, maybe just checking in, seeing when I'm gonna get there." And, he said, "Yeah, you've been traded to Tampa. Best of luck, thanks for everything you've done." And that was kind of it. And it was on the draft floor, so Julian couldn't, give me a call, or nobody really could. So I was like sitting in my thoughts for 30 minutes. I was like, did I do something, or?
All right, so how we doing, Bolts Nation? Everybody feeling good? We're excited to be here with you guys for another Bolts Block Party Live, powered by our friends at Highlight IPA. And you guys are the lucky ones, because you guys have learned when we do the live shows, we're bringing you guys in the top dogs, right? So we've proven that time and time again. So I don't think we're going to let them down by any means here this evening. So are you guys officially ready? I don't know where they are, but are you guys officially ready to welcome in your guest tonight? Are you sure you guys are ready? Bolts Nation, please welcome Conor Geekie! The Geek Star is here! Give it up for him. Conor Geekie, keep it going, Bolts Nation. He's here. That is the warm welcome we expected. Conor, it's awesome to see you. Thank you for being here with us. I know it's a very busy time in your life right now, so for you to take the time this evening to hang out with Kobe and I and our loyal fan base here, we really do appreciate it. Let's just talk real quick about how you have become a fan favorite. Am I lying? You guys, absolutely love this guy. Right off the rip. And I feel like I've been here 18 seasons, and there's only a handful of players that I feel that when they've started with the organization, that they've made an impact right from the jump with the fan base. And I feel like he, right off the rip, has already done that.
Well, I think as soon as you see Geeks, you scream hockey player. I don't know if you could put in.
You couldn't tell?
If you could put on AI, show me a picture of a hockey player. Conor Geekie showing up.
Yeah, right?
Right?
Facts. The flow, the missing teeth, all of it, man. It's pretty awesome.
All the things I think people wish they could if they were playing hockey. I think that's tinted visor. That's all.
Yeah, we're going to
talk about your style. Can we get right into that right away?
Let's do that. But before we do, I know you guys have question cards on your table. So please go ahead, now that you know Conor is here, please go ahead and fill those out. We'll gather those, and we'll give you the opportunity a little bit later in the show to ask Conor questions before we wrap it up with our hat trick segment. But yes, let's talk about it.
Hard-hitting. These guys, they come up with the best questions.
They do.
Really
do. We're looking for the A game from you guys tonight. But yeah, let's talk about it right off the rip. The tinted mask. There's not a whole lot of
visor.
Visor. Yeah.
Visor.
I wanted to correct you. Thank you. The tinted visor. What's the preference for that? Where did that come from?
Yeah, so initially, my brother Morgan used to wear it. We, it's kind of been in my family for a little bit. It's like a hereditary eye disease. Really weird. Again, hockey player.
For sure, right?
So yeah, it was a little weird. And then I had a pink one for a little bit, and then I was like getting heckled a little bit. So I decided to, change it up. And yeah, so the tinted visor just helps with the glare, helps with the, headaches and stuff like that.
So that's why you get headaches because, some of these buildings are really bright and there's lighting is different in all of them. They really tried to, I guess, kind of normalize all the lights that are in the buildings. Because it used to be some of the buildings had different lights. And I know Chief was in here before and he could talk to you about some of the old buildings, the lights in them. But now they're trying to get all the lights the same, but it gives you headaches, or the glare is something that bothers you?
Yeah, so I had it when I was playing junior too. So I was playing junior and it started bothering me a little bit and I didn't know kind of what was going on. And then we went to Edmonton, so we played at Rogers Center there too. And I was like, oh my goodness, like my eyes are throbbing. And so I went to the eye doctor the next day and kind of got the doctor's note written up for it and kind of had it ever since. So I don't really know what it would be like without it. I kind of like the feeling of, it being a little darker. I don't know, just weird me, but I think it does help a lot.
Awesome. So hockey players, you got the tinted visor. You've got obviously your missing teeth. I talked to Tom Mulligan, the trainer, he said he had a flipper they made for you today.
Yeah, no, I didn't wear it. I forgot it.
Yeah, I didn't want to wear it. Okay. Well, so let's talk about, everyone's got a teeth story. Well, I got a teeth story about different times where I lost my teeth during my career. Let's talk about yours, because you're a young guy, so you've been through some battles already.
Yeah, no. So I lost all 3 of my bottom ones in junior. I chipped them off, got them root canaled, whatever that may be. The top 2, non-hockey related.
Okay.
I'm sure there's a good story.
I know. I don't think I can tell the story, but it is non-hockey related. That's just, you guys are. I kept it on the DL for quite some time, so definitely non-hockey related. We don't really need to get in there, but it happens.
I mean, you do have 2 older brothers, so that's
I would beat them in a fight if they tried.
I remember my mom telling me, I think I lost probably by the time I was 25, I'd lost about 4 teeth. And she just goes, I'm so thankful I didn't pay to get braces for you when you're younger.
Until the end. You gotta wait.
Yeah, my mom did. So she's a little upset, but that's all right.
Well, let's talk about growing up in the Geekie household. I mean, because obviously your brothers, we saw your brother Noah was recently on the siblings trip, which was pretty cool. I mean, I know we've done, father's trips and mother's trips, but to see a siblings trip, how cool was that? But talk to us about, growing up in the Geekie household and obviously the success that your brothers have had, your brother in baseball and you and your older brother in hockey.
Yeah, no, I think it was a lot of fun growing up. I think, we weren't really like any normal family. I guess that's a little weird to say, but again, when it came to, arguments, or that's one thing that I always tell everyone, we never argued, we never fought. I think anything that needed to be settled was like, okay, let's go play backyard baseball, let's go play basketball, let's go play baseball, like whatever it was me and Noah versus Morgan, and whoever won the argument, whether it was, over where you sit at the dinner table or, what game you get to play on the Xbox that day. So I think that was probably the coolest part. And I just think for Morgan and Noah, I get it a lot from them and a lot from my parents. It's just how you carry yourself. I think that's been the biggest thing for me is, Morgan, you look at him and you can talk to him for 3 hours and you wouldn't even know he plays hockey. That's just how down to earth he is. And Noah's obviously a little more intense and probably harder working than both me and Morgan are. When it came to the schoolwork, he was always the guy that, maybe wasn't the brightest, but he was going to outwork everyone. And, I think I got the third child syndrome, a little confident sometimes, a little overconfident. So,
sure.
Again, they just did such a good job for me and, allowing me to come and do things like this and obviously play the game that I love just makes it so much easier.
So I love Western Canadian hockey players, and you came from you're a unique town, Strathclair, Manitoba.
Yeah.
I've never been there, but can you tell us a little bit about your hometown?
Yeah.
Small, right? Super small town?
Yeah, so there's about probably 120, 130 people in it.
That's pretty small.
Average age is probably 50 plus. No offense to anyone out there.
None taken.
But yeah, so growing up, it was like, I'd say we were kind of the story of the town, but not for sports. I think Mom used to work in town, and there was numerous times where, we used to make Nerf movies growing up, the 3 of us, and we would get on the roof of our house and jump off the trampoline.
Sorry, Nerf
yeah, like
movies?
Nerf gun. Yeah, there's a few clips of them in there. So
like movies that you guys were putting together, like
yeah.
home movies using Nerf guns.
Can we still find these on the web?
Yeah, I might. No, I might have a few in the Google Drive. So okay. I'll see if I can find a couple. But yeah, so I think that's the best part about my town is we're not looked at for NHL players or really good baseball players. It's just like, those are the 3 knuckleheads that, was a pain in my mom's ass, right? I think that was the biggest thing is just like mom and dad would always get calls from the school or calls from wherever being like, oh, the 3 are, getting up to no good. And mom's like, well, that's just how it goes. And I think dad was the biggest part too. Dad, whatever you get yourself into, you better be able to get it out.
And every small town, no matter 120 people or 10,000 people, every town in Canada seems like they have a rink. And you guys had a key to your rink, is that right?
Yeah, so we had a key to our rink, which was also very awesome.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest part too is, anytime mom and dad didn't want us in the house anymore, they'd just, kind of walk over. And again, obviously, there's a few times where it was forced upon us to head over there just because we were maybe being too much to handle. But a lot of the time we begged for the key to the rink, and we ended up getting it. And I think we still might have one. So we always headed over there, and 6 hours later, call on the rink phone and say, "Hey, Mom, can you come pick us up?" Or, "Hey, Dad, when you're done coaching Noah, I'm ready to go." And it's 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So I think that's just kind of where we learned all our stuff too.
Did that work ethic come from your parents, from your dad? I mean, obviously you were instilled at that at a young age to be that focused.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think, again, Mom and Dad, obviously, fantastic job. I wouldn't be who I am without them. But I'd say I think just being the third child, as different as that sounds, I think it's like I was always, I get MVP of the tournament. Well, my brother Noah would be like, "Well, you didn't win, so maybe win." And I'm like, "Okay."
Brothers for, right?
Next tournament I'd go, we'd win the tournament. And my brother Morgan would be like, "Well, you didn't get MVP, so it doesn't count." And it's like, you know what I mean? It's just a constant,
Yeah,
like
you're
never there yet. And I think, even as we get older, like they still give me a hard time about kind of what I'm doing, and they always keep me in line. And I think that's just kind of what helps me the most.
And your dad, he was a junior hockey player. He played in the WHL just like yourself. Was he always your coach growing up, or was he kind of taking a step back? Because I know sometimes that relationship between a dad being the coach and the star player can be a little different.
Yeah, no, there's quite a few stories probably where I didn't chip the puck out, and I'd see him walking over, and I would say some coarse words to him, of course, and he was so good with when we're at the rink, I'm your coach, I'm not your dad. On the car ride home, I can be your dad, but I'm also going to be your coach. And you can ask a lot of my best friends. There was a lot of bickering on the bench and stuff like that, and I think it was more me than my dad. He just told me things that I thought I already knew. But when you get to now, you hate to admit it, but your parents are always right. I think that's the biggest thing.
So at what age for you? Obviously, we know the track record of what it took for you to get to the NHL, playing your 18U AAA with the Yellow Head Chiefs, and where you kind of started developing your game. But at what point did you know that you were good enough, skilled enough that you were going to get to the next level?
Yeah, I think, again, you look at it, for me, I looked at it as like, I'm just going to take it day by day. I think I did that, development camp with Kobe. I'm pretty sure I told him that too. It's just, I try and take things day by day and live in the moment. Again, that's kind of my parents' motto. And, I never really kind of knew until I would say I was probably 16, 17. I got drafted to the WHL pretty high, and I was like, okay, but, I really like baseball. I loved baseball. We all played it for a long, long time. And then COVID hit. I was like, wow, baseball's going on, hockey's not, kind of contemplating. But I always loved hockey. So I think that was the thing, is no matter how good or bad I just loved hockey, and I was gonna try and play it no matter what.
I wanted to ask you about one of your first junior coaches, longtime NHL player James Patrick, and the influence he had on your career.
Yeah, no, he, again, me and Jeep butted heads for sure. He found a way to kind of make me who I am now. I could never thank him enough for what he's done. In the moment, you look back at it and you see, how many times I got yelled at, or, I was bringing it on myself, I guess you could say. And he was just kind of that person that taught me how to play the game the right way. I think I noticed a lot of steps last year when it came to, just playing the D side of puck, doing that stuff. And he was always that big person for me. I still text him to this day, just checking in, seeing how his team's doing in Victoria. And, he always makes sure to reach out to me. So, again, I couldn't thank him enough.
What's the best piece of advice you've gotten from either a coach or your father that's really stuck with you these years, whether that's game ethic or just life?
I'd say probably from my mom and dad. There's a difference between swagger and confidence. I think that's a big thing for me is, you never want to go into a room overconfident, but you want to come in with some swagger. I think that's the biggest thing. When you go into a a locker room with guys like this, you can't be overconfident.
Right,
I think,
for sure.
a lot of them are Hall of Famers that we got. So you got to come in with some swagger and definitely some confidence in yourself, but you never want to, rub someone the wrong way.
I think that confidence you have, I think everybody here sees it, and it's just the way you carry yourself, the way you have it on the ice. But it's really good to see. Was there a player growing up that had that you idolized, or somebody that you kind of modeled your game after when you were young?
Yeah, I think again, I watched a lot of Draisaitl, Rantanen. I was a big LeCavalier fan for a long time. But I think it was, watching what Morgan had to go through. He didn't have it as easy as me. He had to go play in the A for a little bit. He had to, he was up and down, getting scratched and stuff like that. Not saying that I won't, but, I just saw that, he had it the hard way, and I would say I had it an easier way than most, and I was going to take advantage of that and try and bring his confidence and swagger that he maintained through all that, and then bring it into kind of what I got going.
It's pretty remarkable stuff. So just to rewind for some of you guys that may not be too familiar with how he got here to the NHL, you were selected by the Winnipeg Ice back in 2019 of the WHL Bantam Draft, second overall. You had your best season in junior hockey, 99 points, 55 games with, how do I pronounce it, Wenatchee and Swift Current. Just want to make sure I got that right. You played 9 playoff games also with the Swift Current before joining Tucson, but you were only there for short little stint, 2 games, right? So then first rounder, 11th overall in the 22 draft by the Coyotes, obviously now Utah, signing yourself to a 3-year deal, entry-level contract. So that's a huge moment for you, and then you're excited that you're going to be playing for this organization, and then boom, get traded from Utah here to Tampa with J.J. Moser in exchange for Sergachev. So talk to us about that whole process and what you remember, waking up, getting that call, that whole situation, and take us back to that moment.
Yeah, so, I was watching the draft. A couple of my buddies were obviously going, and I wanted to kind of tune in, see what was going on. And I was just sitting on the couch, and my girlfriend goes, "Oh, imagine you got traded." And I was like, "Oh, there's no way, whatever." And so whatever, I wake up the next morning, I'm getting ready to go to my flight for dev camp, and, I get the call, and I was like, "Oh, I wonder why he's calling." Whatever, maybe just checking in, seeing when I'm going to get there. And, he said, "Hey, you've been traded to Tampa. Best of luck. Thanks for everything you've done." And that was kind of it. And it was on the draft floor, so Julian Breezewell. Yeah, Julian couldn't, give me a call, or nobody really could. So I was sitting in my thoughts for 30 minutes. I was like, did I do something? Or and I was like, what is
Where's
going
that old LeCavalier jersey?
Yeah, yeah. Right? I was like, what is going on? And,
Wow.
With AI and things, I was like, did someone just, get me really good? And I was like,
right.
And then Julian ended up calling me, and he, he informed me, and I was obviously super excited to come here. And he asked me, when's the next flight from out of Winnipeg? And I was like, it's a very hard flight to find. I had the day to kind of soak it in, and I just kind of said, I just want to go golf and act like nothing happened. And throughout that whole day, I was like, there's no way. And here I am.
I mean,
So what do you think? Obviously, you've seen the success of this team over the last couple of years. Do you pull up the roster and you say, okay, where do I fit? Where could I make the team? Where could I see myself? Is that a whole process you go through, or you just kind of go by that day-by-day mantra that you kind of have of I'll go, I'll see who's there, and just make my way?
Yeah, I think that was me probably for the most part. I was just like, let's do it. Let's get it on. I think, my parents, when I told them, nobody believed me but my brother Noah. My mom's like, it is something I would do. But my mom's like, oh, there's no way. Dad's
just making up trades for the family. Yeah. Hey, guys, I got traded too.
Yeah, and Dad's like, no, I don't believe you. And then my agent's like, no, it's legit. And I was like, all right. So, again, you think about, what happens if I make it and stuff like that. But even when I was here going through main camp and, rookie tournament and stuff like that, I literally was just like, just get to the next day, get to the next day, get to the next day. And, I told my parents, I was like, I'm not going to be satisfied until I get a housing letter. Obviously, that doesn't mean a whole lot, but, it's just something like a benchmark that I can have. And
Do you want to explain? I think some people don't understand what that is. Like, I know what it is, because it's a big deal, especially as a young guy trying to make the team. You don't know if you're going back or not, but housing letter, I'll let you explain it.
Essentially, it's when they feel like you're ready, they kind of give you a housing letter. You can go get an apartment, and you kind of stay put for a little while, and you can kind of shack up. So, that was my thing. Was sorry, brief.
I mean, that's good. I mean, we get it. We get it.
Yeah, I know where your heads are going, but again, that was my thing. Was just get to that benchmark, and I got there, and called my parents. I actually I got the housing letter, and I went to take it home and kind of call my family, and I forgot it at the rink. So I told my mom and dad, I was like, hey, I got a housing letter. They're like, oh, let's see it. And I was like, oh, I don't have it.
We don't believe you.
Yeah. And then Macker sent me a text. He's like, hey, is this yours? I said, yeah, I believe that says Conor Geekie on it. Yeah, that's mine, Mac. Thanks.
So now you're a part of the Tampa Bay Lightning organization, and we have a very strong locker room culture here. So what's been your experience so far with the team dynamics in the room? I know that you were also quoted as saying your dad and brothers always harped on you to make sure that you're playing both sides of the puck and that you wanted to work on your defensive zone stuff. But what has been your experience thus far with the team dynamics in the locker room?
Yeah, I think, you just see, Kobe obviously can attest to this. You just see, your guys like Pointer and Cooch and Hetty and obviously numerous guys, but whether they don't practice or they do, or they don't work out or they do, they're just such gamers. Everyone's a gamer. Everyone, when the game comes and everyone's ready, everyone's got each other's backs, and I think that's the biggest thing is like, the culture here is like, no matter who gets knocked down, it's like a race who picks them up. I think that's the coolest part. I've obviously been on a few good teams through junior, but it's kind of different when you're a younger guy and say you make a turnover or something, and Braden Point taps you and he's like, oh, you're good. And I'm like, oh, thanks. Yeah, no.
So Geeks, walking into this dressing room, how many guys did you know beforehand? And then you've seemed like you've just been such a natural fit with the guys, and you just the guys have embraced you, you've embraced the guys. That doesn't always happen with everybody, but I feel like for you, it's been that way. Did you know a bunch of guys coming in, or did you know anybody?
No, I knew nobody. I came in here. I was really, really, I don't normally get nervous, but I was like, when I got traded, I was like, I know nobody. I was like, all right, here we go. And again, when you come into a room like that, I think for me, the biggest thing was just keep to yourself. As someone, I do talk a lot, so I was like, if someone wants to come chat, I'll chat, but I'm not going to go out of my way to, try and talk to whoever it may be. So I think that was definitely a good thing that my parents taught me. It's just kind of, sometimes it's better to listen than talk, even though I had a hard time with doing that growing up. So.
Who are some of the guys you've been drawn to early on? Like, who are your kind of guys you're going out for dinners with? They're inviting you over. Like, I know we were in the practice rink today, and we talked to a few guys, and I got some chirps here for you. But
oh yeah,
there's some guys that who you've been trying to draw to away from the rink.
Yeah, I think a lot of the guys are so good at just keeping me involved. I think. A lot of the guys in the locker room have been younger guys, so they kind of know what I'm going through. And again, it is different. No matter what people say, being a 20-year-old and Cam Atkinson's chatting me up. I'm like, oh, I used to play you in the video game, right? And I think that's the coolest part. I think it's like
he's like, thanks, young timer.
It's just one of those things. So I think I play a lot of video games with Paulie, Hags, and Tony. Those three I play with.
I heard you're the weakest link on Call of Duty. That's the word right now.
Wow, bro. Wow.
I wish they were here because I would really explain some things.
It's gonna be fun in the locker room on tomorrow. So you guys just went to Epcot, right? We went on a little Epcot trip with the boys.
Yeah, that was
that?
sick.
First time in Epcot.
No,
Oh, you've been before?
yeah, we went when I was younger. I think I was 7 and maybe 10.
Yeah, but it's different when you can drink around the world.
Yeah, no, it was fun. Still underage.
That was a test. I wanted to see if he passed. It was a very good test. He passed.
Undercover officer Wolfie here.
I was just trying to
Thanks.
see if he passed. He passed. Because you just mentioned, I was seeing if you're paying attention. Very cool, though.
But yeah, no, it was awesome. I was like, I legit, like, I'm a big Star Wars guy. Our trainer, Mikey Poirier, is too. So I was sending him
Mini
videos of the Star Wars and stuff like that. I asked to build a lightsaber, and the lady said, "Oh, it's like a 3-week wait." I was like, "But can you get me in?"
I'm Conor Geekie. You don't know who I am? So I also noticed that you have a pretty interesting pregame ritual. Like when you come off the ice, well, first of all, you do a power wash to your noggin at one point, but you go off the ice backwards, and then you kind of go down the locker room backwards. Where did that come from?
Yeah, so I did it in junior. I did the water bottle thing in junior and a little bit in midget, or I should say U18. And it's just kind of get me going, wake me up a little bit. I cold tub before the game too, so it's kind of something to get me going. And then the off backwards, I started it in junior with one of my buddies, Zach Benson. He always did a quick little tight turn, and I would, tap him, and then I would go off backwards. That's kind of our thing, and then I've just kind of kept it ever since.
It's very interesting.
They have the flow flip too,
The whole hair shake thing. So obviously, you made this team for a reason, right? And we've seen it in a very short time. But what of of your game? What is your mindset, and what are you trying to focus on improving on yourself this season?
Yeah, I think it's just getting used to not always being the biggest guy out there. I think when I was last year, I was playing in junior. There's not too many 6'4" forwards that hit and do all that. So I think that was kind of my biggest thing is I walked into training camp and you see Victor Hedman and you're like, wow, he's way bigger than me. It's just things like that, and the stronger on your skates and the time and space. And, I talked to Morgan about it too, but you can only talk about it so much. You kind of got to get used to it. And I think that's kind of what's happened the last however many games it's been. I think it's just, you have a good game, you have a bad game, you have an average game. And I think it's just, you got to find that rhythm. There's 82 games, so you got to be able to be as consistent as possible.
So you show up at training camp, obviously, with the goal to make the team. You have a good training camp, a good preseason, and then you get suspended. You get the preseason suspension. I'm just kind of curious. Like, I imagine the feelings, the bubbles, and the nervousness in your stomach as you're like, oh my God, like, is this gonna stop me from making the team or anything like that? Did that ever go through your mind?
Yeah, I think probably deserved it. I will admit, but
I think you also demonstrated you were protecting your teammate.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that goes a long way on the flip side of it.
Yeah.
That's just the way I looked at it.
Yeah.
That's just me.
I think it's just that's how I was growing up, the culture, standing up for each other, standing up for my brothers, standing up for my friends. It was just kind of like an instinct, like, okay, like, I got to do this. And again, probably could have went at it a different way, but it is what it is. And I think, you get suspended and you're in your own head, but at the same time, I always try to look back at it and see if I would change anything, and I wouldn't.
Love that.
So cool.
So listen, do we have question cards for our folks? All right, before we wrap it up, because I know we want to give our friends, is Rich here with the mic, or are we going to let... Oh, he's here with the mic. Okay, so first up, where's Karen, Carrie, and Joyce? Where are you guys at? Right here.
Oh,
I'm gonna let you guys,
Front
you
center.
guys get to ask your question.
I love that. Did you see these stickers these girls have right here?
Oh, no, I've seen them before.
So
I've seen them before.
Okay,
You got a pack of them yourself?
Okay.
Hand them out to Sorelli and Ratty and
We're going to talk about
Pointer.
that, but yes, go ahead, ask your question. Go ahead, ladies.
So during warm-ups, we see that you're singing almost every song during warm-ups. What is your favorite song to listen to normally?
Right now, I actually just checked my Apple Music replay. Me and my girlfriend were going over it. It does, right now it's probably No Horses to Ride by Luke Grimes. A little slower song, but I heard it in Yellowstone and I can't stop listening to it.
You're a Yellowstone fan.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting interesting. Down to the wire now.
I know, but we don't have Paramount Plus in America, and I'm too cheap to buy it.
Okay, so you haven't seen this?
No, I'm waiting until I go home. Yeah.
It's
I heard
getting
it's good, though.
It's getting real good right now. I do want to talk about the Geek Squad. I feel like has those conversations not happened yet with Best Buy to say, we literally have somebody here in Tampa whose name is Geekie, right? I even had a concept. Do you guys remember the Terry Tate Office linebacker commercials from back in the day? I was like, there's a great concept here for him, and he's the geeky squad, whether that's a kid that's getting bullied in school, and here he comes, trucking kids in school, talking about, stand up to bullying, and it just kind of moves on. I felt very Terry Tate of you, but I feel like there's an opportunity with our friends at Best Buy and Geek Squad.
Or you go over to your house and fix your computer.
He fixes your computer, and he checks your name or whatever.
I could fix your Xbox.
There you go. All right, next question is from Rick. Rick, where are you at? Hand up, Rick. From Tampa. He's all the way over there in the corner with the green hat. Back window side.
He didn't get the blue memo, I don't think.
It's all right. It's okay, though. He's feeling lucky. Rick, what is your question this evening for Mr. Geekie?
So my question is how do you pick the number and kind of how that works in general with the teams, especially for the younger guys when they're coming in? I mean, it seems like there's whatever, 100 numbers, so.
Yeah, no. For me, I wanted 96 initially because I wore that in junior, and I obviously felt like I had a good year in junior. So I wanted 96, and then that was, someone else's number, and then 28 came, and I wore that in junior as well. So I was like, okay, I'll take 28, and then Geekie came. Geekie's like, no, I want 20, or he didn't say that, but the trainer's like, he needs it, and I was like, okay. And then I had a few numbers to choose from, and I wore 14 when I was younger. My brother wore it, and it's half of 28, so it just kind of made sense for me.
There you go. Tanya, where are you at, Tanya? Tanya, right there. Question for you, Tanya, for Mr. Geekie.
Hi, so my question is, you mentioned your parents a lot in the beginning about how they played a major role, I guess, and an influence in your career, your life. Is there anyone else that you think of when someone asks you about a role model or someone who helped you get to where you are?
Yeah, I think there's just numerous people. I think everyone in my hometown, for that matter, they did a big part, whether it was, mom and dad couldn't be there and they kind of watched over us. All my buddies, they don't look at me like anyone else. They look at me like just a normal farmer like they are. But again, I had... There was a coach, obviously James Patrick was definitely one of them. Larry Bumstead was his name. He coached me for 6 years in spring hockey, and he, to me, was just, he kind of let me do my thing. His rule was, when you're in the offensive zone, anything below the tops of the circles, do what you want. After that, you got to listen to me. So I think that was the biggest thing for me, was just allowing me to kind of play my game, and then I understood that, there's a system to be played.
Geeks, I thought maybe that was your auntie. She's got a Canadian shirt on there. I thought she's looking for a shout out. I was like, is that your auntie? Like being like, hey, who else? Is there someone else?
Tina, where is Tina at? Tina in Tampa, row 4, next to the kitchen. Tina. Tina. Go ahead, Tina.
Okay, listen. I have early Alzheimer's, so I'm going to read what I wrote.
All right.
At the end of the season, what will you hope to be... Sorry. At the end of the season, what will you hope to be thinking of as your proudest moment?
Oh, wow. Hoisting the cup.
Yeah, I was going to say hoisting the cup is a good one. Yeah, no, that would be a good one. I think for me, too, it's just feeling, satisfied. I think, as a young player, not too many times you feel satisfied during your first year. And I think, obviously, you're never going to feel satisfied, but I think just having some sense of relief, like, okay, I made the team, I did what I wanted to do, I set my goals, and obviously, hopefully, when Boston comes here, I beat my brother. That would be a really big one.
Yeah.
It's just kind of chunking, right? Like you're just like, okay, make the team. Now it's like, I want to make a big contribution. And now I want to be a team leader. And now I want to be a league leader. And, that's the kind of thing, right? You just keep chunking those goals.
Yeah, I think for sure. And, every league I've been in, I've set the same kind of goals and same, had the same mindset. But I think as many hockey players know, you never really give yourself a break. And I think that's just something that I'm going to try and do. I started early. I'm sure you figured it out too. It's just being able to, when summer comes, okay, let's take a break. Like no hockey, nothing. And I think I've really struggled with that. Last year we lost out in the playoffs and I was on the ice 5 days later because I was bored. And I was like, again, you know what it's about. It's you got to find a space where you can just I'm going to golf for 2 weeks. I'm not going to touch anything. I'm not going to touch a weight. But me, it's a little harder, I find.
It's that balance, right?
Yeah.
So we asked, I think it was last year, we asked Luke Shen, because Luke Shen has his brother Braden plays in the NHL.
Yep.
And we asked about, hey, if there's ever a time, would you ever fight your brother? So I want to ask you,
Yes.
would you ever fight
Yes.
him? Okay. That's interesting, because Luke said he would never. He would never. So,
I don't know if I would throw a punch, but if he did something stupid, I
You
would.
would.
I
You
would
would go,
do
I
it.
love
yeah.
it. I love it.
I'd probably be like, okay, like let's take it easy here.
Who wins? Who wins, by the way?
Come on.
Younger
the right
brother
answer.
confidence. I
All
love
right,
it.
final question tonight. Amy from Channelside. Amy, right over here for our final question this evening.
Thank you. Conor, I love your genuine personality. I hope you never lose that.
Thank you.
So we had a big change this year with our captain. Hedman, how's he doing? What's his style like? We all love Hedman, but he's the new captain.
Yeah, no. I wasn't able to be here with Stamkos. I've heard obviously a lot of great things about him. I played him on the video game. He was always one of my favorite players too growing up. But again, Hetty is just when you look at Hetty, he's so, you talk about genuine. That's him. I think he's so down to earth. He may not maybe express, kind of what he's feeling. But I think for me, it's just everything he does is so professional and so well done. And that's why he's been so good for so long. I think he's just one of those guys that you look to when it comes to, how do I do this? How do I do that? He's the guy that, I'm probably going to go to first, and I'm going to, pick his brain on how he's done it for so long.
Those guys are important. You have to have those veteran guys that show the younger guys like the way to go, how to be a pro. Like you came here to Tampa, and like we talked about before, this is your first year living on your own. You're figuring out the pro game. You're figuring out the pro way of life, and there's no better guys, honestly, than the Victor Hedman to kind of show you the way.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think I don't think you can compare, the two of them. I always try and tell people that they'll ask me, and you can never compare, two human beings, in my opinion. I think, one always is going to lead different than the other, and I think he does it a different way, and I kind of love it.
Love that. All right, so we're going to have him sign some things and give those away here. But before we wrap it up, we have our segment called The Hat Trick, powered by our friends at Highlight IPA. So we have 100 AI-generated questions, right? So Kobe and I really don't know these questions. So what we need from you is 3 numbers at random, 1 through 100, that have some sort of sentimental meaning to you.
96, 39, 13.
Okay.
Is that the fastest
Those are
one
perfect.
yet?
No, those are great.
Is that the fastest one yet?
That was pretty quick.
It's faster than...
You'd be amazed how many guys that they think about it too long.
All right.
I saw
okay.
Paulie. Paulie was crunching numbers in that little peanut brain of his.
I love it. I love it. I love these chirps.
All right, so what is your favorite motivational quote?
I have a lot. Probably for me, I used to listen to him all the time. E.T., Eric Thomas. I don't know if you've heard of him. It's called Pregame. It's the one ritual that he has, and I think it's if you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. I think that was a big one for me. And Macklemore also has one. It's change the game. Don't let the game change you.
Yes, sir.
I think that was
Heard that. That's a great one,
I
too.
feel like there's a Conor Geekie Christmas holiday quote book in the future. That'd be perfect.
Get our Tampa Bay Sports Store on there right now.
I
All
love
right.
it. So how do you handle off-ice distractions? That's a big thing. You turn pro, there's a lot more distractions than junior. How you've been able to kind of handle that?
Yeah, I think obviously being able to go home to my girlfriend's awesome. She doesn't matter how I play, it's always good game, and I'm like, really? So that's a big one too. Again, my family, I've talked about them enough. They're massive, but honestly, probably, it sounds crazy, but video games for me is a very kind of safe haven, I guess you could say. I get on with my buddies, I get on with the guys on the team, and there's not a lick of hockey talk. There's nothing. It's just straight chirps, video games. If I'm playing with my buddies at home, it's how's the fam, how's your dog doing, how's the kid doing, right? And I think that for me is just like, I just forget about the world. And I do play probably more than I should. But again, it's one of those things. It's just a home connection where I can talk to all my buddies at home and not have to worry about anything.
I think that's one of the things that players absolutely love about playing here, and I know I did, is that, you know, when you leave the rink, you can be a normal person outside the rink. There's some places where, you know, maybe that's not the case, and it can be hard, and you see those teams and the drag that has them sometimes. So I think that's one of the wonderful things about playing in Tampa.
Yeah, no, for sure. And obviously you guys are unbelievable.
Yeah, stand for you. Yeah, love that. All right, finally, what is your pregame meal usually? I didn't ask. It's AI, not me. What's your like? Do you stick to the same thing usually, or you switch it up? No. Oh, okay. So you're not superstitious about that.
No, it can be like shrimp and rice sometimes with mushrooms in it. It could be carbonara, or it's just leftovers sometimes.
Okay.
If I just see it in the fridge, it's just like, oh,
All
nice.
right, go for it. All right.
Not superstitious about it, just kind of go with whatever's
Yeah,
you're
I think
feeling.
like I don't do a whole I don't do a whole lot of superstitious stuff. Obviously, like, the stuff on the ice, that's one thing, but again, my routine, like I don't look at the clock on when to put my stuff on. It's like I get done when I get done, and I think I just try and, again, my dad kind of showed me, and so did my brother. It's like I don't want to be superstitious to where if it doesn't happen, then I'm not all there, right? If I can't get this certain meal on the road, I don't want it to be, whatever it is. On the road, it's steak and rice with seasoning salt,
Okay.
by the way. Yeah.
I'm making notes just in case you ever need Uber Eats. I'll order for you. Do you also rap did I see something about the top of your stick? Like you do like some crazy rap, like 86 times or something like that?
Yeah,
Did
no,
I see that?
I used to do that.
You used to, okay.
Yeah, I changed it. I didn't get a point for a while, and it was right before the game in New Jersey. I had a dream. I was like, oh, maybe I should change my knob, and then I just went and did it. I did get a point. I'm not saying it works all the time, but it worked that time. So,
Awesome.
And then I just kind of put a few words on my stick, whether it's, shoot the puck or, relax, any kind of thing that I find that I'm struggling with. I kind of just write it down. Yeah.
Very cool. All right.
Amazing. Well, I've enjoyed watching you play and grow, and it just seems like you just become more and more comfortable the more games you play. And I know there's a huge, bright future for you here, and can't wait to see where you end up there.
Guys, Conor Geekie.
Thanks, everyone.
Amazing. Thank you so very much, Conor, for taking the time. We know we got a big game tomorrow. Stick around, guys. We're going to give away his stuff and let him autograph. But thanks to our friends here at Cigar City Tap Room for hosting us here for another live episode of the Bolts Block Party Live, powered by Highlight IPA.
Let's dream up a couple goals tonight. How about that?
Please.
Yeah, I try every night.
All right. We'll keep an eye on it. Thanks again, and we will be back with you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.